fair to say we've kind of answered the first question with the second question, so as to say, what would you do to ensure you don't come up against that above statement? Everyone? What was that? I didn't hear that one. Sack them. Excellent, we'll cover that off tomorrow. John, is he part of your...
Part of my...
I knew it. Yeah, what else?
Structure, procedures, skills matrix.
Brilliant.
Individual learning plans.
Perfect.
Sign them all off.
Sign them all
Why
off.
did you hear about that?
Swallowed John's book. the audio version.
Now listen to pieces of information you should include on your training document. So one of the key things where I've said signing it all off is super duper duper important. I will never ever ever fall proper to that again. We've just been talking about, and we'll cover this off more in certainly one-to-ones and managing difficult members of staff. There is times where you will sit with a member of staff and they'll fire something at you like, I didn't have enough training and development. And you know what? They'll have a point, right? But what I sometimes do is, I'll always acknowledge it and go, I would agree with you, I don't think you've had enough, and you sit there smug as you like and think, I want me. No, actually. But what I would say is, part of your key competencies and something you showed me that you could do and you've demonstrated that you can do is acting off your own initiative. So what initiative did you use to get more training and development? Well, I shouldn't have to ask for it. Why should you not have to ask for it? Well, because you give us it. But if you don't get it, and you've already shown me that you can work off your own initiative, where was your initiative to ask for more? I didn't have it. Right, I'll acknowledge you didn't have enough. Can you acknowledge, please, you didn't act on your own initiative and therefore it's held you back from being where you should be? Yeah. I'll tell you what, we're not going to let you go at the end of the probationary period, but we're going to extend it. I need more initiative from you, and you need a little bit more from me. Agreed? Yeah, agreed. So there's nothing wrong in accepting your failings. You should do that, and you should be vocal about it, but there's also nothing wrong with turning it around a little bit. If they've nagged you for training, you're screwed. I would sign them off personally and I would invest in them for the next 3 months, or I wouldn't sign them off but I'd absolutely invest in them, and they should know that your next 3 months looks like a lot of investment from you. So just be conscious of it. Your best leaders will look at what they do and they will review what they do and they will make sure they're better next time, and they'll also acknowledge their failings as well. So what pieces of information should your training document include? I don't think anybody's got a training document yet, am I right in thinking? What would it include? You do need a training document, you've got to have it, otherwise you'll get met with that at some point in the future, and all the training you've done is up the swanny. So what kind of information might your training document include? Training. Perfect, yeah. Why is that important?
Just so you know who's carried out the training, because it could be a colleague who you've given power to train others, or it could be the leader of the office.
Perfect, yeah, great stuff. What else might be on there?
Learning objectives.
Perfect. Don't forget your learning objectives. When John says, if you can't measure, you can't manage, that's exactly the same with your training objectives. If you tell somebody, and where this really comes into play as well, within your procedures should have learning objectives within them. So at the end of this procedure, I'll know how to effectively chase arrears. I'll know the days in which, the documents in which we send, I'll know all of these things. Fantastic. But there's also value in coaching sessions that you have. That recent bit of coaching that I did with Tony on our one-to-ones, she's got a training document for that, and there's no procedure written because it was actually just me doing hands-on coaching, but it's just as important that I evidence that because I spent 2 days with her. We did one-to-one prep, we then did the one-to-ones, I gave feedback on the one-to-ones. What I was able to do is, off the back of that, we did a coaching session around one-to-ones. What learning objectives? Tony understood the importance of letting individuals set their own targets. Did she meet that learning objective? No, she didn't. In one-to-one number 1, in one-to-one number 2, she got better at it. In one-to-one number 3, she nailed it. So even for coaching sessions, which are equally as important, don't get just hung up on I have to have a procedure for that. Coaching is just as important. Sitting with somebody, helping them to overcome objections. That might be something you might not have a manual for. We do, and we have a procedure because John's the boss, and so we've got a procedure. But we do have one on how to handle objections. But if you don't, and actually you're not ready for that, what's wrong with having a little coaching session around it? But just make sure everything that you do is documented, because a lot of the time as well, it's good for a staff member to be able to reflect on the development they've had. You can pull them out at month 3 and just kind of reinvigorate. Okay, I'm just looking at some of your training documents. You've been trained on 15 procedures. You've had, in addition to that, 15 coaching sessions. You know, you came from it. What I can see is on your skills matrix, the impact of that at this. In the same way that you roll something out and you expect to see the results in their performance in terms of their numbers, I'm going to train you how to do valuations, I'm going to get you to get a better conversion rate. You can do exactly the same with all of that. The results is in your skills matrix. You weren't very good at this, you were developing this, I should say. Look, now you're performing and you're performing well. So sometimes your skills matrix will pull people back and will re-motivate them and reinvigorate them, go back to looking to where they come from, to where they've come to, can be really motivational. So it's the good tools to whip out of your bag, or, you know, show them online, whatever it needs to be, and just revisiting things like your skills matrix and so on. There's always value to that. Because I think people often forget, I know I do. I'll look back sometimes and have to remind myself, at one point you were uncomfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. I'm now sat in a room of professionals, 40 odd of years. I never thought that would be possible. So your reflection and looking where you've come from and to is super motivational. Don't lose sight of that with your staff also, with their training and development.
Sorry, this is a silly question, but
No,
how is
such
the
thing.
training document different to the individual development plan or the individual learning plan?
Your individual learning plan will tell you what procedures you are going to train out. It will tell you what kind of coaching you're going to give. Your training documents are your evidence. That's all they are. They're boring.
So
They're just evidence.
the learning plan perhaps is reflective of the procedures that you need to get them to do the things on the skills matrix.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. So if one of your responsibilities is, I will chase arrears effectively, then part of your development, if they've scored themselves as underperforming or developing, one of your areas will be to train out procedure number 7. What you might also want to do is goes hand in hand with effective communication. So I'm going to do some coaching around effective communication. So your development plan will say they'll be able to communicate more effectively, and they'll be able to understand and implement the arrears procedure. Your training document, you'll have a communication document, training document, and you'll have an arrears procedure document also. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think we've got about 5 minutes. If anybody has any questions at this point they want to fire out, now's your chance, I guess, on anything that we've discussed today or anything like that.
Are there any other books or anything that you'd recommend that sort of teach and outline the forms, the styles, and everything that you've been going through today, apart from John's book that he's just published?
Should I say no, there's only John's book? John's probably the best person to direct that question to. I had to do an unbelievable amount of theory support to understand why I do some of the things that I do. What I understand is I'm very practical with things, so I'll often do things and I'll not really understand why I'm doing them, and I'll learn from the result, and sometimes I think that was good and I kind of guess that might be the result, and that's brilliant. And usually John will go, well, you understand why you did that, don't you? The theory behind it is that he's definitely theory based. I'm more of an action based. So John, I guess, would be the best person to ask.
You can pick and choose. So there's there's a book called Armstrong. The author's called Armstrong, and it's about HR. I can't remember. It's a big, thick book, and that's got some really good stuff in it. The way we operate, we picked and chose quite a lot of things from various industries.
Yeah.
So our systems, we've got things from like Nissan, which is quite it's up where we are near Sunderland. I've got Polish Nissan, pinched his procedures. A mate of mine's got another friend's got a training company. I've got his procedures, and we've just looked over the years what was good about that one. I put a post on the forum around a couple of days ago about what other industries do you look at to try and get inspiration for our industry. Always be looking outside the property industry.
And think about things like when I was looking at customer service, where did I get really good service from? And if you want to, you can, you know, if you had a phone call into Sky and actually your experience with them is fantastic, then have a little look on their website. Usually there'll be things around their customer service policy or something like that. Don't be frightened to look at where you've had a really good experience. How did they get that? What did they do to get that? What can we implement in our business?
You know, we've got a lot of our customer service chart from Disney. Disney is brilliant. Dream, Dare, Believe, Do. So that's the Disney University. There's some really good books out there on that. So
And their vision is to make people happy or something.
Yeah,
It's like you
yeah.
cannot have any connection with Disney and not come away happy.
No, with a
Yeah.
smile on your
One way,
face.
shape, or form.
So that might be an experience that you had. I know we said, I'd love everybody in the go, oh, we don't want to, they say Americanise it too much and they don't want to, hi, have a nice day, all that stuff. Is there a place for that? Possibly not. But do we like some of that? Yes, we do. So, you know, when we looked at that in our charter, one of our things is that we'll close the conversation with a positive phrase, like, it's been really nice speaking to you today. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Are you happy with everything we've discussed today? So, you don't have to replicate that because it might not be right for your environment, your industry, but you can definitely take tips from it. So yeah, just look, just go out, look at things that you like, businesses that you like, and see what they're doing and implement it in a way that works for you and a way that works for your staff as well. Yeah?
great. Round of applause for Adele, guys. Cool. Awesome stuff. Let's have a bit of a recap on today. What are the biggest takeaways? What are the things that you're going to implement in your business on Monday and why? Anybody? Yes.
I'm going to start with basically what you do when you take someone new on. So I already have a handbook, I already have work contracts, so training documents, individual learning plans, skills matrix, and I'm going to try and roll it out as my new starter on the 3rd of April.
Great. Yeah. It'll be tight, but I think you can do it. But when you
So I'll
start,
do nothing else but this for the next
well, if you
5
do
weeks.
nothing else, then you'll smash it. But that's great because it's going to give them the best start to their employment journey with you.
And then everyone else can be like, oh, why is he so special?
Yeah, you've got to have a
He's
good
not, he's
explanation
just
for
wait,
that.
he was coming.
We're just starting afresh, and this is where we're going to go.
Yeah.
Has anybody else got anything? Even if it's only one thing, it doesn't have to be as in depth as that.
Reduce staff roles.
Brilliant. And give them roles and responsibilities in the job description. There's a good one I was talking to Naz earlier on. You always have that little section at the bottom that says any other roles, anything that might be reasonable. So that how many of us, quick show of hands, have had that's not my job description? More times than I care to remember. But by having your job role is bang 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 bang, and anything else reasonably expected of you. It really just sorts it all out. So if anybody says that's not my job description, I agree it's not, but it's a reasonable request from a manager. And do you know, if you go again, so you don't carry out a reasonable request, do you know it's gross misconduct? It's not just general misconduct, it's gross misconduct. You can go straight to gross misconduct and firing them. Obviously there's a few places that you've got to hit. So that's a really good one, yeah. Anything else?
Routine.
Oh, great, love it. Just get in your routine. Find out what works for you. So again, I get up like ridiculously early on in the morning. It's not for everybody, but it works for me. And I had to find, it took me a good 6 to 8 months to find the perfect time to get up in my routine. And you know, I go to Costa when it opens and have a couple of coffees and then I'll go to the gym or do whatever. That's my routine, it's something I feel comfortable with. How long does it take to make or break a routine, roughly?
3 months.
Yeah, it's between 60 and 75 days, 2 to 2.5 months. And again, it's trying to break that cycle. So it's craving, cue, response, reward. That's how you get it. That's how it's a routine. So there's a good book called Atomic Habits, if anybody wants to get that. And that tells you not only how to break bad habits, but how to make good habits. And those are two very different things. So the response and the reward, you cannot do anything about. It's in your DNA, it's in your psyche, there's nothing you can do about it. But the cue and the craving, you can do something about. So again, who's terrible when they're speaking to somebody, but when an email pings or Facebook message, they go 2 seconds and they check out the phone. Yeah, I'm not great at it. But what we've got to try and do is how would we get out of that? How do we stop the cue and how would we stop the craving? Simple, take the app off your phone. That stops the queue, therefore there's no craving, therefore they cannot be a response and they cannot be a reward. So we get the guys to prospect every morning at 9 o'clock. All the managers do it. And we say to them, do it at 9 o'clock because you haven't checked your emails by then. So you can't say, oh crap, Mr. Smith from 28 Duke Street's complaining, I better sort him out. You have your morning meeting, you set the girls away, and then you get straight on with it. The girls should be getting ready with checking all the right move inquiries and this and that. They know what they need to do. They shouldn't have anybody coming to them and say, oh Holly, can you help me with this? Or Tony, can you do this for me? We give them a prospecting phone. It's a single mobile phone that they just get on with and they just dial out, dial out, dial out. It's a separate phone to the mobile, so they don't have any apps on, they don't have emails to it, they don't have Facebook, Twitter, social media or anything. They turn the emails off. We tell them, don't even check your emails till you've done the prospecting. So there's no distractions. So once you know how the chemical balances in your brain works and how the whole habit formation works, if you like, it's much easier to follow. So routines is a very, very important one. Anything else?
Structure.
Yeah. Structure. Structure is key to any business. Absolutely is. So guys, we've got about 10 minutes left. You'll probably notice at the break time, I've just, one of the girls have been put around a bit of a brochure about how you and I can work together, and Adele, on a bit more of a permanent basis on a one-to-one. So I'm just going to take 5 minutes. It's not a heavy sales routine or anything like that. It's just tell you a little bit about if you want to work with us on a future, this is how you can do it. So we've developed something called Transform Your Agency, and it is effectively, it's a mastermind. So we used to have it around my house, and that's where there. We've got Paul there, and there's Alan there. We come around my house and we mastermind your business. So everybody, it's not freezing, Alan.
It's freezing.
That's why we all got the
The
coats on.
next slide kind of confirms the fact that it's freezing.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit cold, but we've moved it, and I'll come to that in a second. So we mastermind your business, we find out what's going well, what's not, and then we set accountability. And the power is in the group, because as we all know, 9-10 heads together are a lot better than one. So I'll facilitate it, we'll talk about what we need to do and put the structure in your business. And we go through the agency roadmap. So those 9 modules that we spoke about earlier on in the day, we implement in your business. And it's not that cold, but the slide does actually show that it is like Winterfell, where I live, from Game of Thrones. So we've decided to move it a little bit south, and we've moved it to Manchester to make it not only a bit more accessible, but also we can fit a lot more people in, because the group was sort of, we could only fit a certain amount because of the size of my living room table. When we were in a bigger group in a hotel, we can fit a lot more in. And obviously not too many numbers, but the more in the group with experiences, we can all learn for them. So we're going to the Mercure, no we're not, we're going to the Piccadilly. That's it there, really, really nice hotel, and that starts next month. So what you get from a Transform Your Agency Mastermind is, we get a one-to-one strategic plan, and it's tailored to you. So we find out where you are now in your business, we find out where you want to get to in your business, and we individually decide what actions you're going to do to get you to your end goals. Because again, like Roy said, you need structure in your business and you need routine. It's all very well and good going to a mastermind and just meandering along, or talking to a business coach and meandering along. But if you look at the motivational theory, if we've set your goals, short, medium and long term, you're more likely to achieve them because you're more emotionally connected to it. You can see the big vision, the big picture. We will do whatever it takes. Early mornings, late evenings, weekends, holidays. I mean, Naz, we've had phone calls 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, weekends, evenings. Whatever it takes to get you towards your goals, that's what we will do. You have a peer group of successful agencies to bounce off. We've got people in the room with 1,000 houses managed, 700 houses, 5 branches, 4 branches. One of the guys sells 1,000 houses a year. So we've got some big hitters on the mastermind. So you will learn from people who have been there, done it, and got the t-shirt. And you also have accountability via one-to-one coaching, mastermind, and also the community as well. So we've got we've got a Facebook group where all the mastermind and coaching clients that we work with frequent, and your accountability, you'll be kept right up to it. So if you're not hitting your targets, you will get a friendly kick up the bum. But again, there's a phrase I use, is if you want a friend, phone the Samaritans. This is business, this is tough, and we've got to try and get you to where you need to be. It's got proven systems, structures and templates, and 90% of it is done for you. So we can't give you everything because it's for your business and it's how your business operates is a little bit different to how we operate our business. And also there's a percentage of, no matter what you're given, you have to go and you've got to put the hard work in, you've got to put the graft in. But you will have all the support needed to put that into work. It's 100% guaranteed as well. Now what do I mean by that? If you do, there's a guarantee on, if you don't get at least twice your investment back within the year, I'll give you money back. So if you don't double your investment, you'll get it back. So it's a win-win. You cannot lose on it. You get all access to all digital products that we've designed, built. We've got one called How to Systemize Your Business in Under 3 Months. How to get more business you can handle, and that's on prospecting. That's got copies of our sales letters, our prospecting scripts, what strategies to use. Paul Long, the Facebook king over there, has kindly done a module on that. And that in itself is bringing us tens of thousands of pounds worth of business into the business on a monthly and quarterly basis. You've also got access to a membership site. Again, that's got the agency roadmap, and it goes through a very detailed, bit-by-bit step of how to get structure and routine in your business. And you've got access to Adele and me 24/7. I do 9 to 5, she does 5 till 8 in the morning. I'm
We
not
didn't
kidding you.
discuss that. Can we look
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
again?
up your price next time. So we have special guests at the mastermind, so Adele's going to come down and she's going to do more sessions. I've got some of the industry big hitters I've already spoke to over the last couple of weeks, so they're going to come down and do keynote talks on it as well. So Mark Shankers from Glasgow, been working with him for a while, and he said the mindset shift has changed to realise that everyone is a potential landlord or knows a potential landlord. It could be a previous, current landlords, contractors, professionals in your network, or even tenants. So when he first started working, he had 70 properties, and he's now just took on his 150th, and that was in just less than a year. So he really focused on prospecting. So when we talk about the agency roadmap, we can focus on whatever you need in your business right now. So if management is an issue, we focus on the management. If it's KPIs and financial management, well, that's what we focus on. We don't just go through it from A to Z. We see what you need because we've had that consultation and we know what you need in your business. Maria, I'm not going to read it all, but the effect of it was that she went on the systems course. She really, really needs systems in a business. And for the first time ever, she went on holiday to Mexico for 10 days, turned everything off, first time in 5 years, and she came back to a well-run machine. Now that was just because she knew how to implement the systems in her business. And she's an ESTA winner as well. Kat, so her company tripled in size, 10x the income in the past 18 months, and she couldn't have done it without what we learned on the course. If you know Kat, I've actually thirded the amount what she wrote for this. She always puts too much in. But she's done well. She got herself out of that business, completely out of that business in 3 months. From a cold start of not having any systems, she worked her arse off, morning, noon and night. Systemised the business in the 3 months. We even helped to recruit a manager, and Matthew's still with it today. So, there's only 3 spaces left. Application by consultation, we've got some forms on the front there. We need to know if you're a good fit for the group. And the reason we need to know that is because we have got a group of tight-knit people, and we just want to make sure that you're right for them, but they're also all right for you. The investment is £8,000 plus VAT, spread over the year in 12 monthly payments. And there's a 100% guarantee that if you don't get double your money back, I will give you your £8,000 back. It's that simple. One caveat, you need to put in the work. You can't sit in your arse, wait till 12 months and ask for your money back. It doesn't work like that. Great. Well, if you want to have a chat with us after that, we're going to have the VIP meal tonight. It is bang on 5 o'clock. I'm going to go straight to the bar after this, and I'd like to buy everyone a drink. So if you want to come up, I'll buy you all a drink. We're going to be there for probably about the next 15-20 minutes. But 9:30 in the morning, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the first day.